Hello everyone, I'm Ronan Unchained. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Art of the Mandalorian. Alright, here we are. Beautiful, beautiful cover art by Doug Chan. I love it. Oh yeah. Immediately, and if you haven't seen the show Gallery, making of season 1 of The Mandalorian, I highly recommend it. But they've always been saying that they were heavily influenced by the stuff that influenced Star Wars, the original film by George Lucas, which is Sergio Leone, Akira Kurosawa specifically films, Yojimbo, all that type of stuff, samurai movies, and you could tell. This is how I adore this piece of art right here. You could tell it's very Clint Eastwood, man with no name type of storytelling. And I know people also always compliment Filoni, Dave Filoni, but he is a wizard. I mean, look at this. This is a sketch he did. This is a sketch he did. This is a sketch he did, and they just turn it into iconography that, says everything you need to know about what the show's gonna be about. And here's more of that Lone Wolf and Cub stuff. I mean, this beginning for the child, episode 2, it just rang of Lone Wolf and Cub, both the manga and the movies. And what I found out intriguing about this, this episode highlights it, and Rick Famuyiwa and the artist were very thoughtful about what they were doing. And for an example is that when it came to designing the environment and the Jawas for the show that appeared in it, they went into details from the sand colors they were designing of making it distinct but keeping it, homage and the same as we know it in Tatooine. But even, the Jawas themselves, they may or may not immigrate to other systems. That's one thing that they pointed out, that they distinct them from the red eyes, and they made the not assumption, but just the thought process that, they went with red eyes rather than orange, maybe because that had to do with the different consuming in the native diet of the said planet, which is not Tatooine. So I thought that was, the fact that they go into that much detail, it said a lot about what they were doing with this show. And cool thing about it is that Christian Osman, I think one of the concept artists, wanted to make the Death Watch member, the Mandalorian who saves Din as a child, wanted to pay homage to Ralph McQuarrie's design of him, which is an all-white super commando soldier, and he wanted to illustrate the flashback of young Din being saved in his town, and wanted to make it very angelic, biblical vibe, and that was fascinating. And these, when you consider the timeline and the Death Watch history story-wise, it made more sense that they would approach that manner. But what they went with Death Watch, it made way more sense, and has some repercussions with Din and his approach to the way of the Mandalore. So I thought that was really, really cool story that I heard or read about. Sanctuary. Oh, look at that. Cara Dune versus Din. Oh, that's a cool design. I adore this episode. And yes, it could be similar tropes, Seven Samurai, and they've done that before in the Clone Wars, and I understand that, but it's a moment of peace during the big rush after the Sin episode, and we get this, and it's just so peaceful, so beautiful, area, the design, and it's a moment of, is there any hope for Din Djarin to have a peaceful life? Here he is teaching kids stuff. And here's Omera, I believe the character's name, who he has some chemistry with. And the Lothcat, I was so glad they brought in the Lothcat. That was such a cool thing. And cool creature designs. Look what they did with an ATSD. They made it very creature-like with those eyes and just approach, and I'm dying to get the Lego set for this. Look at this. This is what I'm saying of what they can do with just drawing or painting something as concept art, and then bring it to life with the episode of the show, this is a moment of peace where is there hope for Din to not just be a warrior all the time and maybe find love and find peace alongside, Baby Yoda at the time, or as now we know him as his real name, Grogu. Is there any hope for him to just remove the helmet off and have connection with someone, not just verbally, but visually, and just being like, I am willing to drop my shoulders, drop my tension just for a moment of peace with someone else. And we do get that in the episode, and yet we have we have to keep our feet on the ground, which is a little tragic and sad. But I adore this right here, and the way they brought it into life was beautiful. So apparently, this is a cool story. The concept art you see here, that we see in the episode credits, of Mando taking down the TIE Fighter with his jetpack and plasma cutting, was actually made for Chapter 3, The Sin. Yeah, this was made for an earlier episode, and they decided to save it for the finale, and I am so glad they did that, because that was such a way to cap off the first season, and I've never seen this before. At least to my memories, I have never seen this before. Someone taking down a TIE Fighter like this. And, the Stormtrooper being like, what is going on? How is this possible? It's amazing imagination ideas that they make for an earlier episode or story part. And they're like, no, let's just save it for later. It's really, really fascinating. Look how they plan the shots. That's such, from behind, from down in the front corner, and then just... Oh man, look at this. This is sad as hell. Baby Grogu crying. Oh man, troopers running at it. Scout troopers. Oh man, I love the angle they made. This is so cool.